Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. Today we're going to be talking about Rick and Morty Season 6, Episode 9. Only one episode left. Season finale, and then who knows when we're going to get it. So we start off with Rick and Morty kind of poking fun at Szechuan sauce, I think. Basically, Morty wanted to go to this asteroid to wait in a line to get this specialty item. Which I'm assuming that's kind of like a poke at, when they were having a big, crazy, out of control thing going on with the Szechuan sauce at McDonald's, which we haven't actually seen that in a while. I think it's been like 20. Actually, no, it was like 21, but my local one just didn't have it for whatever reason. Um, we then get into this kind of Knights Templar type thing where we have Knights of the Sun, and basically, Morty was like really nice to the guy, saying, "No, I don't want to wait for the sandwich. I want to, I want to wait in line. It'll taste better if I've earned it." Something along those lines. Rick then is like, "Yeah, don't do that. This is going to be some long, drawn out, stupid thing." Uh, and Morty is kind of curious, trying to get some more information. So he ends up taking the sword. The knight then ends up using Morty holding the sword to kill himself. Even though I don't think he technically had to kill himself, maybe that's part of it. Not really sure. These guys say that don't you guys aren't going to grab one of these free sandwiches over here, whatever the heck they are. Then like, no, the company paid us to wait in line, which that doesn't surprise me. If a company, like, hey, $100 for the day, multi-million-dollar corporation is like, go wait in line, and then maybe it brings in a crowd. So we're literally on the sun. Um, because Morty has a sword, he's been given some sort of special power, so he doesn't actually burn up and die. Um, he's learning about the Knights, thinks it's kind of neat, kind of going for it. Basically the sun is the center of the universe. There's the king of the sun. He has a scepter that can never be taken away from the sun, because if it's taken away from the sun, then planets will start basically colliding, because the sun is the center of the universe. Um, Even though we know, yeah, kind of. I guess kind of you could say it's the center of the universe to us. The Milky Way galaxy as a whole is kind of near the center of the universe, but not really. But for the sake of this, they're saying the center. This is all of the past kings, um, and then they are in this royal ceremony. And yeah, you see what's happening here. So in order to become a knight, you literally have to cut your dick off. Yep. And at this point, we all know where this is going. Morty is completely out. He's like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm not doing that. Let's get out of here." Rick also, in the meantime, said he was going to be like 22% more agreeable with Morty. So, less contradictive, anything along those lines. I think that pretty much comes into it right after um, Morty bests the king in combat. Rick makes an AI sword that has seen a couple of fighting movie. Oh, I think it was Blade. I want to say it was Blade. So he ends up besting the king in combat. The king lays down his arms, kills himself, and then all of the knights are like, we've never had a king with a dick before. This is weird. What do we do? So Morty's like, yeah, no, I'm good, not doing that. Goes back to the house. This is where Rick is kind of saying, I'm going to try to be a little bit more agreeable. And then somehow the Sun Knights can travel to other planets. I have no idea how, but they just have the ability to travel to other planets. Um, Basically, they said they would, rather die than leave Morty's side. So Morty's trying to figure out a way to essentially just get rid of them. So he's like, look, here's the sun, gravity mass, here's all the planets. Basically, everything has been a lie. Kind of doing it like Rick did. He pulls out the sun scepter, and they're like, oh my god, our entire religion is a lie. And then they're basically like, yeah, out. One of them asks where he can find hair. This guy asks, hey, where can I find a heroin? Um, so yeah, that was kind of weird. We then have one of the guys that was taking a dump come back, and we see like all of this like explosions coming from the sun in the background, and we don't really see this guy. He's just like, nothing happened in the like 10 minutes I was taking a dump, did it? And no. So then all of the heads of all of the planets get together, and they're trying to figure out like who's going to be the new ruler of the sun over everybody. Rick and Morty come in, basically, trying to get them to stop this giant, literal universe world war to a certain extent. Um, we have Santa, who actually isn't Santa. He's like the Duke of Earth or something. I don't remember what they said his name was. It happened really quick. Um, and then it's not really talked about. But, nice little Christmas promo going on here. Morty pulls out the scepter. They say it's for grabs, and then Morty's like, "Yep, I'm out. Not doing. Still trying not to do this." Um, and essentially, it just turns into they're literally crucifying. They're essentially crucifying Santa. I mean, it's an X, so it's not an actual cross. That's probably so they didn't get canceled or something. But yeah, and we just kind of lead into this giant war sequence where everybody, we just see king after king after king after king. Everybody's killing everybody. It's a real, like, a kind of, maybe it's like a game. It could be Game of Thrones reference, or maybe even House of Dragons reference, where everybody is just killing everybody at this point, and it's just becoming a massive mess. Um, Rick is really trying to work with Morty for once to, basically to be agree. It's kind of weird seeing Rick so agreeable to a certain extent. He's basically trying to talk Morty through this, like, hey, let's actually work this out and be good to go. We learn here all of the, Sun Temple guards um, are pretty much just doing heroin. They can't die; they're immortal, so they can't OD. So they're just like having the best life with heroin. Uh, Morty then says, what if I cut off my dick? Basically, he's like, all right, I'll cut it off. Um, and then Rick's like, don't worry, we'll get you a fake one to cut off. So we then see basically that everything is going to go back to the way it was. Rick steals the scepter. Here, Morty becomes the Sun King, and he has to do it in front of everybody with these very. I don't know why they just gave him like the dullest, crappiest, rusty shears to cut off his own wiener. But they then have several different detectors to detect fake wieners, prosthetics, holograms. And I mean, he's really trying to get rid of it. And then we have the old hag that can see things in bones, even though she has no eyes. So it's a shot. I know that's a reference to something. I know there's some movie where there was like an old witch, an old blind witch that could read bones, and everything she said came true. So they just kind of dip. They're like, run, can't do it, can't do it. I refuse to do it. And this ends like the literally ends like the vat of acid episode. Um, I don't know if this was a Rick, like, okay, I'm going to be more agreeable, and then to show you that your ideas are stupid, we're going to, like, literally redo the same exact thing with the vat of acid. Or it just could be like, oh, okay, this has happened before, it worked once, let's just do it again. Um, I guess both could be argued to a certain extent. And they sacrificed themselves. They did eventually come back to see, hey, let's see if everything's going on. And this guy sees them, and then Morty's like, yeah, go ahead, tell everybody I'm alive, and then cut your dick off. So I think this entire episode was Morty metaphorically and almost literally losing his wiener. And I've probably said dick and wiener way too many times in this video, but that's literally like the entire thing. So have it. And Rick basically, he has to hold the reins at all times, or theoretically, Morty loses his wiener. Then we have this weird. Speaking of wieners, these things are like hot dog people or something. And apparently, this guy that Rick got them for before, that has like the weird fishing hook hands, um, he's been getting them illegally. Um, where it kind of runs away. There's like this cool, neat little sequence. They save some. They're breeding them to eat, and then he releases them into the water. I guess they're water, and he's like, "Wow, I actually kind of thought they weren't going to make it when I released them into the water. I thought something was going to get them." And then a giant bird comes and gets him. Um, I know that might be a reference to a meme, because I know there's multiple memes that I've seen, like, oh, somebody's trying to protect this animal, and then they release it, and within 10 seconds of releasing it, it dies, or some predator or something gets it. But I enjoyed this episode. I couldn't fully tell if Rick was just like being an asshole by not being an asshole the entire time, if that makes sense. Um, Basically, not telling Morty "I told you so." He was trying to be a little bit more agreeable, or if this is like a new actual change of direction for his character, and Rick was like legitimately trying to get this issue resolved, which would be, it seems like Rick has definitely had growth, especially last episode in this episode. So I guess it's a possibility. There's definitely nothing wrong with some character development, um, making Rick a little less angry, a little less aggravated, a little less mad, if you will. So I'm gonna give this one a good 8 out of 10. We'll say no. I'm gonna go with, yeah, 8 out of 10. I think is solid, because like, I mean, it's parts of it where, like, should I be thinking about this more? Should I be thinking about this less? And it's like, do I need actual critical thinking skills for this, or is this something I can just shut off my brain for a half hour or 23 minutes, whatever the actual runtime of the episode is, plus commercials, and be good to go? So it leaves you thinking a little bit. So it's definitely something where I would consider, and probably will rewatch this episode before the season finale, because they're probably going to air this episode right before the season finale anyway. So definitely worth a rewatch, because there's probably things in here that you didn't catch the first time around. Hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, leave a like, comment what you guys see for future good cartoon and anime related videos. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a good one.